This episode is brought to you by Portland Distro. If you love underground music and movies, go to portlanddistro.com for licensed shirts, vinyl, CDs, and more. Go to portlanddistro.com. Plug in the discount code MikeHill666 for 15% off at portlanddistro.com. It's been a minute, but I'm really happy to be talking to you with some. I barely see you over the years, but it's always good talking to you, man. I'm really happy you agreed to come on the show.
No, dude, I mean, number one, I'm honored, just even if I didn't know you, and number two, not only do I know you, Mike, I love you, and this is seriously, man. That's like you were one of those people that I wouldn't talk to every day, or you wouldn't be somebody like I'd call like, hey, what are you doing? But man, every time I see you, like it was always like, oh fuck yeah, Mike Hill, fuck yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. I love you, man. It's just awesome seeing your journey, dude. And I don't know. I'm just psyched to talk to you. So let's talk.
Yeah, man. It's I met you it's got to be like almost 30 years ago, man. Crazy to think about that. Back in the Mission Hill days, and Wrecking Crew had either just broken up or was on the sort of twilight of its years, and that's when I think I met you.
Yeah, you know what? If it was probably because when I was up on Mission Hill, then I was dating I just started dating Kim, our mutual friend Kim, and that was right at the very end. So it wasn't even the twilight years. It was like that was Rome burning. that was just sad. Like it was like I think that was probably like the last 6 months of Wrecking Crew. Yeah.
Yeah, the demise of a band is never good, man. It's always it's like I mean it's cliche to say it, but it is like that. You're in a relationship, and it's everyone knows it's over, but who's gonna make the move first to be like, I'm out?
Oh my God. Yeah, dude. Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, so bad.
But when I met you though, I knew about Wrecking Crew. They were obviously at that point, since we're talking about the tail end of the band's career, was definitely a known entity for me, having just moved to Boston. Probably just a few months after, maybe 8 or 9 months after moving to Boston is when I met you. So I was aware of all that stuff that was going on, and I'm like, oh man, it's Keith Bennett from Wrecking Crew. I'm like, shit.
You fool.
But that band though was kind of, in my opinion, one of the bands that was that bridge, like that crossover, you know what I mean? Like people talk about the Cro-Mags and SOD and like that kind of stuff going on in New York as like a crossover metal kind of thing. And I place Wrecking Crew in that world of hardcore but metal crossover.
Yeah. Oh yeah, dude. I mean, without a doubt. I mean, that was. But the whole thing was like it honestly, like that we sounded how we sounded. We didn't say we were going to do this. We just we were all best friends, like the original lineup. Like we became a band by proxy. And I'm not going to be some kind of like arrogant guy to be like, oh, I invented crossover and like that. But I guarantee you, I was one of those original guys who were coming from the more metal side of things, who it wasn't because Metallica was wearing a Misfits shirt or like SOD was my introduction to the hardcore punk. Like I'd been, entrenched in it since, like late 82, 83. But, I think a lot of it was, I liked a lot more metal than, because most of my friends were hardcore kids. I liked a lot more metal, and I was turning them on to metal. And, the metal kids that I was friends with were as open-minded as I was. So like we were the guys who were, listening to Discharge from day one. We were the guys who loved GBH. You know what I mean? We were the guys who it was almost like, we hated the same bullshit metal and rock and roll world that punk and hardcore kids did. That's why we gravitated towards that scene. So when Wrecking Crew happened, it wasn't, like, how some of those crossover bands, and and they all had, completely sincere intentions, but there were a lot of bands that like got a metal drummer or they got a metal guitar player. I just happened to be the metalhead who was on bass with us. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny because I remember that being a thing. Like, it seemed like even Sick of It All had Rich originally, the bass player, who was like the metal guy. You know what I mean? There was always like the dudes with short hair, and then there was like a heavy metal guy with like a mustache or like long hair, or something like that.
Or both.
Or both.
Yeah.
But that's pretty much my entry point too, because I was definitely more of into metal. Like I actually have like a relatively limited understanding of hardcore punk from the 80s, really, because I was mostly listening to metal, Metallica, Slayer, like that kind of stuff, and older shit too, like UFO, Scorpions, and because I couldn't play guitar well enough to actually be in a band in those early years in the 80s, I was only able to play like punk rock music. So that's why I ended up being in punk. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I get it. I get it. Like, I mean, for me, I was just really, really lucky. Like, it wasn't like I was this, insanely cool beyond my years, like 9 or 10-year-old kid, but it was absolutely like location, it was geographical. Like, not only was Boston a very happening city, all kinds of like, underground independent music styles. I also happened to be living in a neighborhood which was literally 10 minutes up the street from Kenmore Square. So where I would go to get my comic books, like I bought my first issue of Cream magazine because Kiss were in it. I wasn't like, I wasn't a disciple of Lester Bangs or Jay Kordosh or Robert Christgau, but I bought this magazine by accident because I just wanted to get this cool picture of Kiss. And then I'm reading things I had no understanding of, like this world. I'm like, what the fuck is this? But it was very intriguing. And there was also a free Boston rock newspaper called Sweet Potato. And I did the same thing. I picked that up because they had something on Aerosmith in it. And it was very, very Boston centric. So I was reading about all these bands that lived in my neighborhood that I ended up like, I'd be recognizing people on the street. I'd be like a fat little 11-year-old kid. And I'd be like, are you the bass player for the Marshalls? And this guy, some 20-year-old kid would be like, how the fuck do you know my band? You know what I mean? Like, oh, I read Sweet Potato. Like, what? And then there was, Boston rock. And then, you would Triple X, Suburban Voice, Forced Exposure. It was, yeah, dude, it was, and the radio back then too. Like, I mean, like our college radio is still second to none, and BCN was groundbreaking. So, like even though I identified as like, metal, I was still like, at the same time, like I was, listening to The Clash the same time I was listening to Van Halen. It was just like, it was dumb luck. It wasn't any kind of like ultra cool thing.
Actually, Boston's known for having superior radio, man. I mean, all the colleges, and what comes to mind immediately is the Nasty Habits show. That
dude, Nasty Habits. That Mike Jones, like, he's kind of like went off the radar, but that guy is such a huge part of American metal. Like, yeah, I mean, insanely. I'd put him up there. His impact right up there with Brian Slagle or John Zazula, Howie Abrams, Michael Alago, for real. He just, man, that was the gospel, dude, to like stay up on a Sunday night, and you'd have your cassette ready. And you would record Nasty Habits. It didn't matter. Like, some radio shows, you would like, you wouldn't record every song. Like, it didn't matter with Nasty Habits. It was just like, that guy was a fucking, like, he was a prophet. He'd proselytize about just everything. He turned on so many people, saved so many people from fucking a mundane life. It's amazing.
Yeah, that was a legendary show, man. And I grew up in a small town called Carmel, which is like right on the border of Connecticut. That was close to Trash American Style,
Did you guys have SOU? Was SOU kicking back then?
That's Jersey. That's like where I live now, actually.
Okay.
But we had WXCI. I don't know if that's a real limited. Like, if you just went down the street, you probably couldn't get it. You know what I mean? It was out of Western Connecticut University, and So that year of like my junior and senior year of high school, and then going to college in Boston in like the late 80s, they had WXCI, and then there was like ERS, and then all the plethora of like other fucking college stations where you can be exposed to like, you name it. They had punk, hip hop, metal, hardcore, goth music. There, I forgot which had like the Bats and the Belfry show, which was on.
Oh, that was ZBC. It's still on.
That's still on.
Dude, that's still on, and Late Risers Club is still going on MBR. I mean, they're like, it's there, man. It's beautiful.
And one of the coolest things about Boston College Radio was like the different live performance shows they had too, like Pipeline and
Yep.
Live from the Fallout Shelter, and you know, it's something that you get very spoiled if you had any experience living in Boston. That is something you just kind of took for granted, because that's something that really doesn't exist in a lot of cities.
Mike, don't know what you got until it's gone. Absolutely, dude. It's hard. It's weird, man. It's like it's heartbreaking. You know what I mean? And it can, like, on a bad day, it can really. I can just speak for myself. It can get me down. But then the thing that pulls me out of the funk is it's like, hey, asshole, you know, you're mourning the stuff that isn't around, but you know. You remember why you're mourning this, because you got to be a part of it. So, you know, there's that, because then it just turns into like, kind of like, you know, pity on the people who would never know what we had. It's like, it sucks that it's gone, but like, at least we got a piece of it, you know?
Yeah, totally, man. And it's good to hear that a lot of those shows, like you mentioned, those shows are still rocking. So that's awesome. You know?
Yeah.
I know
yeah,
Nasty
I mean,
Habits is gone. I know that played. That's
yeah. ERS took a really weird turn where they kind of they did this isn't me begrudging any kind of success that they're having, because they're actually not. What they did is they completely made it. And the same thing happened with, I mean, Berkeley School of Music. They don't have a radio station, but it's the same mindset. Whereas before they were striving for originality and to make, you know, these people be creative and singular. And ERS, the station, is, for all well and all intents and purposes, for the last 15, almost 20 years, it's like a training ground for just very commercial radio talent. And they don't really play anything before ERS. You listen to ERS because they'd be playing stuff. They'd be breaking bands before any radio station in the country. They'd be playing stuff you would never hear anywhere else. Now they're basically like a commercial station. They're basically like a training ground for terrestrial radio, like really boring DJs. It's awful. It's soulless.
Yeah, probably. I imagine like you know, the stuff that's going on with like Spotify and you know, all these like curated like playlists and stuff. That's kind of maybe taken over. You know, like what college stations might have done. I mean, this is just an opinion. Like, I don't even know if this is true or not, but I know, like, you know, you go to someone's like playlist, and if you like black metal or whatever, like they'll have like the brand new shit that came out that month, and you could just run down the guy's playlist and be.
Yeah, dude, it's great. It's great. Like I look at stuff like that. I compare it to almost like the 2000s or whatever, like the whatever they're calling this nightmare time of like, but like it's their version of the mixtape. Like, you know, we you know, back in our day we'd make the cassette tapes, and but that's what this is now. It's like, you know, people are making these Spotify playlists for each other. It's like, oh, you're into that? Here, give me like tomorrow I'll hit you off, like check your inbox, and you know, you'll make something or a playlist for somebody. You know, it's the same thing as we used to make mixtapes. It's awesome.
Actually, this would be a good point to mention that Everything Went Black has its own playlist. So yeah, and if you're out there listening, be sure to check it out. Keith and I will be putting together a combined collaborative playlist for this episode. So you know, we'll have some fun, man. You know.
Oh, dude, hey, folks at home, I'm just finding out about this now. I'm very psyched. This is cool.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, excellent.
Yeah, but
yeah.
You mentioned Kenmore Square, which is man, now all of the nostalgia is coming back to me too, man.
Shadows.
My involvement probably with Kenmore Square started in, I would say, maybe 1987 when I went to college up there, and that ironically, the academic institution that I attended has now completely taken over Kenmore Square, and it's basically become
Oh my God, dude! Have you been there at all? Have you walked through Kenmore?
You know something, man? Oddly enough, I haven't been in Kenmore Square in probably about 12 years at least.
Well, it's gone. I mean, like anything that you would think that it's, dude, you talk about shadows and dust. It's all gone, man. It is nothing but memories, man. It's gone.
Now that's really sad, man, because I, somewhere in New York, I have memories of CBGBs and all that stuff too, and that's like another type of neighborhood that was very rich and with culture, like kind of like low life, like street culture, but still something that is important to people like me and you. You know what I mean?
No, it's dude, it's the same everywhere now. It's like all like Boston. It's, like us old crusty guys, it's like, we call it New Boston, Neo Boston. It's awful. I mean, it's the same thing that happened in New York. It's the same thing that's happening everywhere. It's just these, blatant gentrification, and then they're just completely, like, I mean, okay, fine. There's nothing wrong with improvement on things, but they're just completely barreling, wiping out everything, good, bad, or ugly. They're getting rid of everything. Then they're building on top of it, and it's what they're building. I don't mind something new if it's for the better, but what they're doing is completely soulless. And then on top of that, they're inventing fake neighborhoods. Like for these things, it's just like it's these cookie cutter, $1 million condo facility, apartments, and just like they're all these fake neighborhoods where these people who aren't from Boston don't care about the history of Boston. Like regardless of music, they just don't care. They just come in for a little, and they're basically carpetbaggers. They're not going to be living here very long, and they're just going to be moving to another city where that city is waiting for them with the exact same gentrification. It's all cookie cutter, and these people have these like 2 to 3 block fake neighborhoods where everything is there. They've got their Whole Foods, they've got their CrossFit trainer, they've got their funky little coffee shop, which is completely corporate, but they don't know. You know what I mean? It's just, it's garbage, dude. And the thing is, we all know it's like, there's always going to be that. My thing was like, do you have to take everything? And they do. Big shock. Corporations are evil.
Yeah. That's the thing that I think like is, a huge divide between like maybe our generation and like a newer generation is, back in the day, you and I, from people from our set, always distrusted corporations, but then somewhere in the new millennium, there developed this idea that corporations aren't all that bad. Look at all the stuff they give us. We got like these cool like earbuds we can wear, and I got a phone that allows me to like like hook up with chicks and stuff like that, and I can post photographs of what I had for lunch, this burrito I ate, all this useless shit.
Yeah, dude. Fucking, Nero gave him bread and circuses. Yep. And, Bezos gives us, whatever we want delivered to our door in 24 hours or less. So, we're still getting fucked.
That's a great reference, by the way, between, with the bread and circuses and the Jeff Bezos connection. I like that.
Oh, thank you very much, man.
Yeah, man. But Kenmore was fucking awesome back then, man. It was like Nuggets, the record store, the Rathskeller, the Pizza Pad, which actually kind of sucked, but it was open late.
Pizza Pad sucked. Nemo's was the move, man. Right downstairs, right out the front door, right downstairs. Nemo's. That was headquarters, dude. And they had better video games and they had better pizza. Okay, do you remember this? Slices.
Oh yeah, man.
Slices.
Dude, I couldn't remember the name of Nemo's at first, but that was definitely the better spot. I don't think it was open as late as the Pizza Pad, though. That's the thing.
No, because and that was the thing. It was like Pizza Pad for a while. Like Pizza Pad, it would be you'd wait like in the front booths because like for a while they were selling beer. And then said sell beer to anybody. They also had like a 2 slices and a Coke deal for like $2.50, and for a while they had better video games. And then also because they were on street level, that and this is before cell phones, people like, oh, meet us in Kenmore at 3. well, where are you going to be? It's like, just come by Pizza Pad. And you could see people walk by the front window and be like, hey. And then when everybody was together, then you go downstairs to Nemo's and hang out.
Oh yeah. That was a good move actually. Yeah.
Yeah, because Pizza Pad, that was all for like the Red Sox idiots, and then like all like the disco and the disco and the Guido guys from Narcissus and Celebrations across the street.
That was a place I can remember that. They actually,
there
was a period of time where they had shows there too.
Dude, they had an ongoing thing. It was Heavy Metal Wednesday, but it was by and large it was hair metal and poser metal, but we'd still go because all the girls dressed like hookers, so it was awesome. But then you get busted, but then you couldn't really get. Everybody would get busted because like if you were there and then you see somebody go, what are you doing here? And then they could just flip it on you like, well, you're here too, man. So what the fuck? I'm like, yeah, well, they all look like Kelly Bundy, so I think we're in the right place, kind of thing.
I want to say that I saw Malaya Rage play there one time.
Oh, they played there all, and I mean this isn't a diss to them because this is what I was getting at. So by and large, it was hair metal over there, but the guy who did all the booking, his name was Jim Blute. He was the manager for Steel Assassin, who were like the gods. Like before Wargasm were Steel Assassin's roadies. Like Wargasm became a band because they were like Steel Assassin's little brothers. But so Jim Blute managed Steel Assassin, and he started managing Malaya Rage because Malaya Rage and Steel Assassin and Wargasm, they were all Route 1 guys. They were all like this Route 1 heavy metal mafia that they just fucking just insane musicians by the time they were all 16 and just but so Malaya would play there, Wargasm would play there all the time. But dude, I saw Exodus there, I saw Tank play there, Trouble played there. Dude, there were a lot of fucking great shows. Like Metal Church played there. Anthrax was gonna play there, but it was like they weren't acting like divas, but they weren't able to fit it. And I know it sounds weird, but like I was there with them, so like they really were trying to make it happen. But like physically, logistically, there was no way that Anthrax could play because they were gonna play downstairs. So upstairs was Narcissus, downstairs was Celebrations, and Celebrations is where they had all the heavier shows. Because they didn't want to get they didn't want to get all the disco balls, like all like the neon smashed.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Totally.
Yeah, and Anthrax were like down there for hours trying to their road crew trying to make it happen. And they were even like trying to call the Paradise, like, because see if the Paradise wasn't open that night, then they were going to try and open up the Paradise for them. And it was the whole shit show. But Narcissus Celebrations, that wasn't the go-to. That was the go-to if you were trying to get girls, because like it's not like nowadays where there are like really really super decked out attractive like bimbo style, even though it's female empowerment, but you know what I mean, like really like slutty looking cool rock chicks who are like firmly entrenched in like deeply underground music. Like back then it was like a hot girl at a heavy show was few and far between, so you had to go where the grass was. It
was very rare, definitely very rare,
so rare
for sure. Yeah. And then of course there was the Rathskeller, which the easy way out would to say that was Boston CB's, but it kind of had its own vibe. It was without a doubt. I mean obviously to anybody listening to this who wouldn't really know, like right at the jump off, that's actually a perfect analogy. But on deeper inspection and double down, just being a Boston guy, fuck that, the Rat was the Rat. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I have allegiances to both cities. You know what I mean? And
hey, listen, man, I was never anti-New York. Wrecking Crew, we were anti-Connecticut. We love fucking New York. Dude, Choke still hasn't forgiven me for like, quote unquote, like, bringing New York and heavy metal to Boston hardcore. So.
Well, that's actually kind of where I was steering this conversation now. Is like we hinted about the metallic edge that Wrecking Crew had, but from me being like a relative outsider, like moving to Boston, being familiar with New York style hardcore, and having at that point already been fully exposed to like Agnostic Front, Carnivore, and the Cro-Mags and stuff like that. My memories, my ideas about what Boston hardcore was like were probably dated by the time I got to Boston, because it was like, okay, SSD Control, Slapshot, and then Wrecking Crew were kind of the band that put Boston hardcore on the same playing field as some of the New York bands that I would mention. You know what I mean? Like, and you guys also were, in my memory serves me correctly, we're playing with like bigger bands and stuff like that. Like you kind of had these like, there was more business going on, shall I say, with the band than a typical Tang Records kind of thing.
Oh yeah. I think it was like a two-pronged thing, because I mean, like, dude, even if you asked us when we were 15, you know, it was like, you know, we wanted to play the Orpheum. You know what I mean? Like we wanted,
totally.
You know. So but it wasn't like, you know, it's like, oh, we're gonna like, you know, siphon off over, like, you know, like do this vampiric feeding off of this very, like, you know, beautiful underground thing, and then like, you know, like infiltrate it and then just, you know, spoil it. Like we wanted to, you know, we wanted to be as big as possible, but we didn't want to like sell out. If that makes any sense. It was like, if that ever happened, amazing. Probably not going to happen, but let's just try. You know, that honestly, you know, I've never said that out loud like that way. That's exactly how it was. It was like, we wanted to go as far as we could go, but we wanted to do it as us. We didn't want to, you know, have a, you know, now we're going to play funk metal. We did, you know, it wasn't about like selling out. But we were just so insecure and frustrated with our lack of success, seeing our peers blowing up. And well, it was because we had made some bad decisions, like, you know, signing to Hawker, and just like, also we just really didn't know, for a band that was doing as well as we did, we didn't know a damn thing about how to run a band. And we would see, you know, like, you know, we brought Sick of It All. I mean, they were a huge band, but like they played their first shows out of the tri-state area with us at Green Street Station. Same goes for Raw Deal Killing Time. You know, we best friends with Biohazard. And what happened is towards the end, you know, it was like me and a couple other guys in the band, we just started chasing our own tails. And we would, instead of looking at what were we doing wrong, we were looking at why aren't we fill in the blank, like why aren't we as big as Agnostic Front right now? Why aren't we as big as Sigwell? We're just as good. It's like, okay, fine. It was nothing about our musical talent. It was the fact that we were idiots, incompetent as far as running the band. And, you know, we would look for scapegoats, and we threw Glenn out. We threw out our original singer. And that was a huge mistake. We should have changed the name of the band. Instead, what we did is, because we played with Biohazard down in New York, down at Lemore's, and that was the first time we'd ever not only had a band, you know, blow us away, but smoke us. I remember, like, you know, 30 seconds into their set, me and Ralph, our guitar player, just looking at each other like, holy fuck, what the hell is happening right now? Just, we had never seen anything like that. And like their organization, how they handled themselves. We basically, like, me and Ralph, like, and Ralph will own up to this too. The end of Wrecking Crew, we should have changed our name, and we absolutely fell into this like tough guy Biohazard thing, and it really spoiled like whatever. I mean, if I say legacy, that makes it sound like we were a bigger band than we were, but just like it really tainted, you know, like what memories of Wrecking Crew should have been a band that came and went and were loved and just always delivered. Instead, it's like no matter how much you can shine up what we did, and we did a lot of really good stuff that I'm proud of, there's always going to be, yeah, but man, at the end, what the fuck was that? And it sucks, but it was our fault. You know?
Well, let's run down like how you guys all met and who was in the original lineup and that kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we met. So it's me and Ralph, the rhythm guitar player. We met freshman year in high school, like first 2 weeks in high school. We both went to Brookline High, and we both been going to shows, you know, for a year and a half or two before that, or, you know, like probably like, you know, like 7th, 8th grade, starting to go to shows, but not like we were like, you know, we didn't know each other, and it was kind of the same trajectory. I'm not going to say like, oh, you know, I'm in 8th grade and I was like, you know, down with any, you know, dude, I'm well in the back and I wasn't at every show, you know, but I was, you know, dipping my toe in. I was getting it wet. And the same thing with Ralph. Then we met Darga, and met Darga just at shows, and just because the three of us loved Misfits and loved Sam Hain, and then I at the time, like Ralph and Darga started jamming. in Darga's dorm. He had a dorm behind Fathers 2, right down from Kenmore on Buswell Street. And they were starting to write together, and I was in that band Cancerous Growth. I was in them for like a month. I was in and out, and when they started jamming, I was in Cancerous Growth, and like I said, it was really fast in that band. And then the next thing you know, it was like I was out of Cancerous Growth, and I asked them, they asked me. You know what I mean? It was just like kind of like a perfect storm. Like, well, shit, I'm not doing anything. You need a bass player. I was like, well, we were going to ask you, but you can't scope them. Well, they threw me out. So here we are. Then our original drummer was EK.
Yeah. I had him on the show a few weeks ago. We talked a little bit about it.
I love that bizarre little maniac so much, man. He's such I love that guy, dude. I'm so happy he's doing good.
Yeah.
But it was him, and because there was a whole crew of JP kids who would hang in Kenmore, and like they were a little bit more like townie. It was weird. They were like townie kids. They were like a cross between like townies and b-boys who like kind of got turned on to hardcore. You know what I mean? Whereas like a lot of the other kids hanging out were like like legit like punk, hardcore or metal kids. Like the JP crew, they were like kind of like the Beastie Boys. It was like that, like that white b-boy kind of thing. And that's how we met EK, and EK was buddies with Glenn, and we didn't really know Glenn. Glenn we knew from shows because he was really quiet. He wasn't a dickhead. He was just quiet. He wasn't very outgoing. Kind of kept to himself. But then when shows would start, like when people would start dancing, he was just, and he wasn't. Some people would dance to hurt people. He wasn't malicious, but he was a force to be reckoned with. And like when it was time to like think about a singer, like once we had like 2 or 3 songs down, I was like, okay, well, we're a band, we're doing this. It's like, well, we need a singer, so we gotta have, it's like we're following Slapshot. You know what I mean? It's like, what are we gonna do? It's like, we need a badass. We need some sick fuck. It's like, oh shit, what about Glenn? It's like, do you think you'd do it? Like, you were kind of like a little intimidated, and he goes, no, he can't. I'll talk to Knuckleneck. And you know how EK is.
Yeah.
And then Glenn came in, and then sure enough, I mean, this is something like water's wet, fire's hot, and Glenn Dudley sounds exactly like Roger Murray. So that's not the worst thing that's going to happen to a brand new band. And one of their favorite bands, Agnostic Front, your singer sounds exactly like the singer from Agnostic Front. So it was game on. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's like we were talking about before. I think that I could spend like this entire episode talking about Wrecking Crew. You know what I mean? And but I think that we should do a Balance of Terror Classic Records episode. I think people, to get the full all the details, all the nitty gritty about all that stuff, because I think that would be like fucking cool.
I'm in.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of people have been asking about that. I've been like chattering with some people online saying, who some of my, some of the stuff we're working on and talking about Wrecking Crew, and like we've referenced Wrecking Crew in the past, and people would be excited about that, I think.
The scuttlebutt around the water cooler is hot, huh? Okay.
Yeah,
all right.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, It's good to know.
But unlike a lot of our friends, at some point, somewhere in the mid '90s, people kind of dropped off from playing. They got involved in real life and families and normal things, normal healthy things that that most adults
I hear about that stuff. Like, I don't know.
But you and I somehow we both we somehow sidestepped all that shit, and we're still out there doing stuff. So you were busy all through the '90s. You had all these different bands going on, and the one that actually this is after that point, but but Panzerbastard, we played shows together. That's awesome.
Oh man, fuck yeah, dude.
Now is that still? Are you still doing that? Or cause you got a brand new thing going on too.
Well, got a new thing, but so Panzerbastard, it's not recorded, it's written. We have like 15 songs, and then the world went tits up. The world went tits up, and most of Panzerbastard went tits up too. It was kind of like it was a perfect storm of tragedy. So we've actually just been like, we never broke up. Like we'd always be in contact throughout the whole pandemic. But actually, the last month and a half, 2 months, we're really making, now that the world's starting to unfuck itself, we're like really making a concentrated effort to set up a time, because we got one guy in Florida, one guy's in New Hampshire, and then there's me and the other guy. We're still here, so we just to get together, because what we want to do is ideally get the two guys from out of state here to Boston for a week, and take at least 2 days to relearn everything, because I mean it's everything is on like phones. We don't even have it like on a laptop right now. That's how stupid we are. So we have to relearn everything, and then if nothing else, get everything tighten up so that we can at least track drums, so that we have that foundation, and then record the record on top of that. But yeah, like Panzerbastard is absolutely going, and it just I mean. I know it sounds like pro wrestling, like hype stuff, but I guarantee you that the new Panzerbastard will be beyond fucking pissed. It's just the nature of everybody's individual travels, and just the way the world has been. It's just gonna be real hateful.
Yeah, it's definitely my kind of shit, man. It's got all like Celtic Frost kind of like like sheer terror, like sort of vibe to it, but angrier, Motorhead, Discharge, like all that stuff's thrown in there.
Yeah, we've been, some of the more enlightened folk have called us stadium crust, and I'll take it.
Stadium crust? That's interesting.
Stadium crust, yeah. Like, like, oh, you guys like Disappear. And I'm like, so what are you saying is we're Kiss Charge? But dude, I'll fucking take that. That's totally what we're about, Yeah.
All right, so I wasn't sure if that band was, still active or not. That's awesome, though.
Neither was I. No, we're in, man. We're happening. We're an ongoing concern.
Actually, with the last year and a half being what it is, it's hard to gauge who is actually quote unquote active at a time where mostly there's no shows going on.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fair enough. But you have this brand new thing, which I've been hearing about, and I've been seeing that you've been playing a lot of gigs and things like that. So what's up with this new band that you got going on?
Okay, well, it's like new. We just played our second gig Saturday, like as of us recording this episode, this past Saturday night. Like, so we're talking on a Tuesday. So yeah, it's called Casket Rats. And it's just straight up hard rock. It's not even like, like Inepsy or anything like that. We're not like Black and This or Crust / anything. Like, we are just hard rock. It's Thin Lizzy, AC/DC, ZZ Top, The Cult, UFO, Circus of Power. Like, yeah, I mean, we do like lean towards maybe a little bit more like raw, but I think that's just a natural thing from like, because we're all of us are coming in. So it's me, Goose, who's also in Panzerbastard. He also had a black metal band called Lord Almighty. Brendan, the guitar player from Black Mass, who just put out a new record. They're black and thrash. And Phil was in a band called Obstructor, who were like really good old school thrash metal. But we're all like, really tight buddies that over the years is like, when we hang out, like, this isn't like, we're not doing this like a novelty thing. Like, this is like what it's a progression from when we all hang out together. Like, more often than not, like, I mean, we all love Impaled Nazarene, but we if the four of us are in the same room, we're gonna end up listening to like Uliera Scorpions, or like Rio Grande Mud, or Lights Out in London, shit like that. Like, it just cause that's what we're into, on top of everything else that you'd expect us to be into. And then once the world was starting to unfuck itself, PB is not broken up, but we're not doing anything. Like, and we all were kind of like in that holding pattern with our main bands, and we're like, we should do something. It was like, yeah, we should. But then it's like, if we did a band that sounded anything like any of the bands that we were doing, that's like cheating on your wife. It's pointless. Sure, it's like, why do that? Because like, it's like, those are riffs that would be far better suited. It's like dance with the girl that you brought, you know what I mean? So it's like, I'm not going to write a Panzerbastard song and not play it in Panzerbastard, you know? So we're like, fuck it. And it's like, also with everybody kind of having, I mean, me especially, but like, you know, everybody kind of like having this brand new chapter going on. It was like, well, let's do something we never did before. It's like, well, fuck, I guess that means we're going to do a hard rock band. It's like, so like, dude, I mean, to most of the world, it's still distorted bass, but to me, it's like I might as well be like playing Jaco Pastorius's gear. It's not Panzerbastard level distortions, and I'm like singing, and you know, it's not Pavarotti, and I'm not giving Bruce Dickinson a run for his money, but like I'm singing, I'm trying to rip off Phil Lynott. I'm not, you know, growling. I'm not trying to do Tom Warrior in this thing. It's and like there's twin harmony leads all over the place.
Oh wow!
Like Dude, I'm really, really, really fucking happy. And it's also nice just being a guy in the band. Whereas with Panzerbastard, for better or worse, like I'm the Lenny, I'm the tyrant in the band, and it's worked really well for us. And it's also been really fucking bad for us too. So it's nice to just be, I'm the bass player. I'm 1/4 of something. And to also be, you know, an old dog with a new trick is fucking fantastic. I'm really grateful. So
that's cool, man. Because I was trying to guess, because I haven't heard any music because you guys don't have anything.
Yeah, well, that's it. Yeah, I mean, dude, like I appreciate you, you know, having me like, you know, talk about Casket Rats. I just feel kind of stupid because, you know, we're not going to we don't have anything online. Like we don't even have social media presence right now. That's like when we get together Sunday, it was like, okay, well, these 2 gigs went pretty good, you know, so, you know, now let's you know, like the project this week is to get social media up, and then you know, we're going to be going in probably February to record. So
see, man, you come to this show, you find out about all this happening, brand new shit. That's awesome, man. That's cool. I'm on the ground floor at this. That's awesome.
You are our Alan Freed, my man. You are our Don Kirshner, dude. I'm fucking psyched.
Yeah. No, because I was trying to guess at what it was going to sound like, because I'm like, all right, it's Keith. It's like it could be a couple different things. My initial, maybe based on the name, I thought maybe like Sam Hain, Danzig kind of thing. You know, I don't know. Like,
oh yeah. Well, we're definitely like. I mean, I think maybe like aesthetically, like I'm the only one who like kind of has like that kind of vibe going, and you know, we are like we are doing some very like, you know, specific like things, like, you know, we do have a bit of a plan, like, you know, like for like certain colors, like a certain vibe, but like, you know, we're not like, this isn't like Avenged Sevenfold or something. Like we're not like playing dress up, like, you know, if I happen to be wearing leather pants, it's just I happen to be wearing leather pants. It's not like, okay, we're gonna be these like kind of desperado vampire coke dealer D-beat zombie guys. You know, it's not like that. Dude, you know what I mean?
D-beat zombies. That's a good one, man.
No, it's not, because now there's gonna be some assholes in Brooklyn who are gonna do it and fuck it up for everybody. So careful, Mike. Careful.
Well, but hell, man. So you're going for like some old school style heavy metal vocals, which I think is fucking sick.
Like a bit, dude. You know, I'm just saying, like, how about this? It's definitely like anybody going in expecting anything like our 4 bands, or maybe even like what we look like. It's not going to be the case. So I think we're trying to use that for our advantage. You know what I mean? Where it's just like, so instead of like looking like, you know, we're fake truckers, or, you know, we're wearing like blue denim belt. No, but for real, man, because people do work that angle, you know what I mean? It's kind of pretty contrived, where it's just like, oh, well, we sound like this, so, you know, I'm gonna wear bell bottoms. Like, dude, you never wore bell bottoms in your fucking life, and now you have a mustache, and you got like turquoise rings and shit. It was like, dude, like last week you were trying to get me to sell you my nausea hoodie. You know what I mean? It's like, fuck you. Like, it's not like that. Like, I think that might be, I mean, we can't have an original sound because we're not playing an original style. But I think if there's anything original about us, it would be like maybe the fact what we look like and like our artwork. You know what I mean? It's like, shit, like this kind of sounds like really good old ZZ Top. Is like, but that guy looks like he's the 35th member of LA Guns. What the fuck is happening here? You know? So
yeah, but I guess the cool thing what I'm trying to get at is that I mean, I like to take chances and do new things musically, and it always feels new, even though it's not something that's new necessarily. But if it's like new for like what you do and what people are used to seeing you do, then it's new, you know?
Yeah, dude, I agree, man. I am fucking so psyched and like giddy, and like, I mean, I'd like to think that no matter what I've seen and done, like I haven't been like too jaded, you know. I mean, I'd like to think I'm more like savvy or like wary, or like, you know, my tolerance for bullshit is zero, as opposed to like, you know, nothing thrills me or nothing impresses me anymore. But like with Casket Rats, it's just really exciting because like none of us have ever played this stuff. Like, we love this stuff. We never played it. So like when we come up with parts, we're like, holy crap. You know, it's cool. It's like being 15, you know, like having your first band. You're like, oh my God, I can't believe we pulled that off. Oh, we're doing it. Let's try this. Oh shit. No, we can't. Yeah, we can. Let's do it. Oh, wow. You know, it's awesome, man. Like, dude, like it's almost like young love. I'll get home from practice, or like even I'll be halfway home, walking home from practice, and I'll be texting everybody like on the group chat, like, guys, that was awesome. You know, it's like I can't stop thinking about you. You know, like that shit. Like, hang up. Funny. No, you hang up. Hang up first. Okay. You know, dude, that's how it feels, man. It's great.
Nah, it's fucking awesome, dude. And yeah, so I'm really looking forward to hearing this, man. And so are there any like what are like the go-to places to record up there now?
I mean, Mad Oak as always. So there's Mad Oak, Alex Garcia, Rivera. Dude. Yeah. And we're gonna go in with Alex. He's killing it. I mean, Kurt Ballou. I think Kurt. I mean, I think Kurt's like booked solid for 3 years. I mean, and if he isn't, he should be. New Alliance is still happening.
Oh wow. I was going to ask.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's different, like Mad Oak moved locations because Rug Road got the new Boston pave over. So Mad Oak moved up the street. Q Division moved a while ago, but I'm sorry. Yeah. But yeah, Q Division is still around, but they're not really in the realm of heavy. New Alliance moved a while ago, and they're still happening. I can't, I mean, if there's anybody out there that I'm forgetting, like, I apologize. It's just like old wet brain. And also like, I don't know who's still active. But I also think like just with what's available at everybody's, you know, just immediate disposal. So many things are just like happening like in a practice space now that it's kind of like the era of, you know, oh, you got to go here, you got to go there is over. But, you know, we're still going to go with Alex just because we really want to, like, we don't want to make a 70s sounding record, but we want to do analog. And also, I mean, like, Alex comes from our world too, where he knows that, like, you know, he knows what we're going for, so we're excited to do it.
Yeah, I've been to his spot, man. He it's, you know, it's in his house, and he recorded the Cable record that came out a few years ago, and yeah, I helped on that record. I did some backing vocals, so I
no
saw,
shit, that's awesome.
Yeah, I saw what he had, and I'm like, all analog, like old school. It's great, sounds great. Somehow, I don't know, one day Alex was like an awesome engineer. I don't even know how the fuck that happened, really.
Hey man, you know, probably because he's always been a very level-headed, smart person. You know, like he'd join these bands with, like, you know, like brawling and, you know, crazy reputation like that, and he's just, you know, he's right next to the trailer, like drinking rice milk, like watching all this dumb shit go down and not bothering with it. He's probably reading recording manuals.
Yeah, probably, man. Because like,
you know?
I didn't even realize Alex recorded, and then he played me. I think it was Blood Horse, like that band he did, that like kind of heavy rock band he did like a few years ago. And I was like, "Fuck, man! Like, damn, you recorded this in your basement?" And he's like,
dude,
"Yeah."
Have you seen his solo thing? Have you seen Chrome Over Brass?
Oh, I haven't seen it live. No.
Holy shit. Oh my God. It is impressive. It's something, man.
I've said this before, that usually the drummer, if he's a good drummer, is always the best musician in the band. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Alex,
yeah. You're only as good as your drummer.
and Alex kind of like exemplifies that. Like if there's a drummer in a band and he's great, most likely that guy can make his own record by himself. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's kind of funny how that works out.
Yeah.
Well, our mutual friend Rachel Kaiserman, who
Miss Abuse, Rachel Abuse.
I've shouted her out multiple times over the years for being someone who has exposed me to great music. You know what I mean? Like Crash Worship and stuff like Neurosis. Like I actually have to attribute Rachel for turning me on to a Neurosis and Buzz Oven and like all those bands back in the the
oh man, she loves Buzz Oven.
Yeah. But she mentioned to me that you stopped partying, and I think that's great, man. That's a fucking awesome story.
Yeah, I mean, it was time. It was time. Like I'm actually just as of recording this with you, I'm celebrating 11 months, which is nothing, it's the rest of my life. It's the rest of my life if I want to have a life. But I'm definitely ready, willing, and able to keep working on my recovery, because I was fucking done, man. It wasn't like somebody had to slap the beer out of my hand and pull me out of the party. I was fucking done, and I was a late bloomer to everything too. Like when I met you, I had done like teenage knucklehead drinking, but then I just stopped. I mean, but even back then, I can look back and say it was like, I was drinking like an alcoholic back then, but it was weird. I just stopped, and I didn't claim edge. I just stopped drinking, and then every once in a while I'd drink. But over the years, like I thought it was funny until recently, and then I thought it was a bit sad. But Brian Keene, I forgot his band. Knock. Do you remember Knock?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah. So Brian, the bass player from Knock, he had a quote. It was like, if you ever see Keith Bennett with a beer in his hand, run.
Oh man.
And I was like, that's fucking funny. I'm like, no man, it's because I would like Jekyll and Hyde my shit. Like that's what got me thrown out of Ramallah. Like I was trying to like hang with the big dogs, and I just every night it would start off great, and I would wake up. I would come to in the morning. We'd be somewhere, and I'd wake up, and I'd be the last guy up, and everybody would be like kind of standing over me, like not talking to me, or if they were talking to me, like, we have to get out of here because you piece of shit. I was like, what? And I like honestly have no idea. But that wasn't even the worst of it. It was like, dude, I was a late bloomer. I started fucking around with everything in my 30s, and it was drugs before it was booze. It was coke. And I fucking loved coke. And then I started drinking. Honestly, it would be like after people would be hanging out at my place, and it'd be like 6 a.m. and they'd be like, no more coke, but I'd be like so fucking railed, and I couldn't crash. And, there'd be beer left over in the fridge, or like I'd even be picking up like dead soldiers off the kitchen table. I'm like, oh fuck, somebody left a full beer. And I wasn't even drinking to get drunk. I was drinking so I could, not have a heart attack. Then I started, I was always in a band with people who drank. They just weren't alcoholics or drug addicts, and, Panzerbastard practice, we'd always have a 30 pack, but, we'd also have at least a gram of coke. And then it just became, this is what we do. And honestly, it was fun for like a long time. And then it was starting to fuck with the quality of my life. And also it was fucking with our reputation. Like, it went like that cliche thing, we were musicians who dabbled in drugs, and we were like druggies who dabbled in music. But it was true. It was like, Panzerbastard we had like, great run, a good reputation. And then it started to get known as like, Panzerbastard, great band. Those guys like cocaine. Then it was like, Panzerbastard, great band. Oh, those guys are fucking so about cocaine. Then it was Panzerbastard. Oh, those guys do a shitload of cocaine. Then it was, those cokeheads in Panzerbastard. And then it was like, those cokeheads. There you go. So it took a long time. I mean, we're never fully gonna like wash that off, but we're here. And I mean, three of the guys who needed to get sober are sober now, which is fantastic. I can't wait to do stuff now with everybody being clear,
That's fucking awesome. So I mean, there was like was there like a moment or some kind of incident that happened where you were just like, all right, things got to change, or or is this a gradual kind of thing?
This sounds really like a cop out, but it was both. I just, so all right, here's like the cliff notes of it. Things were like really, really bad with coke. I ended up actually just getting bored with. Oddly enough, like that was the thing that it looked like was going to sink me. It ended up like honestly running its course. Like I never like was like, once I stopped, I was never like, oh shit, I miss cocaine, or like fuck man, I just makes me want to do cocaine. Never like that. But then booze filled that hole, and I lost a beautiful relationship because of my drinking. Well, dude, it was my fault.
I'm sorry to hear that though, man, because that's
I appreciate it, but then I was like, well, at least I have my band, and my real life job, my day job is working with dogs, and so I was like, I can lose myself. I've got rock and roll, and I got the pups. Then COVID, so I had nothing. And that was it. Game on, man. I was drinking to kill myself. Like and once again, I apologize in advance to anybody listening, like, cause everything I'm going to say is absolute VH1 cliche shit, but it happened to me. It was true. I just didn't have the guts to put a gun to my head or jump off a roof. I would drink, and every morning, or like whenever it was that I like my eyes would open, no shit, the first thing out of my mouth would be fuck, I'm still alive. Okay, well, maybe today. And my family knew, and this is how selfish you can be when you're like in your active alcoholism, is in my fucked up head. I mean, I knew that they knew what I was doing, and I knew that they were hurting, and it was hurting them. But I honestly thought, dude, that if I died, or when I died, it's like, okay, well, it's going to be hard for a few months, but I think eventually they'll see that, it was for the best. I was in so much pain. I'm in a better place now. I was so selfish, like not even thinking that, like, they're going to bury their kid. They're going to bury their cousin. They're going to bury their big brother. Wasn't even in the equation. And then one day, so like my uncle raised me like his own. So my uncle is my father figure, and my cousin is my little brother. And one day, my cousin and I would meet up once a week. We live in the same neighborhood. We'd meet up once a week, just park, get iced coffee, and just shoot the shit. And we just talking, and I can't exactly quote what I said, but it was definitely alluding to dying. And he just the pain in his eyes, and him just saying, you can't do this. Just it was what I needed to hear. And then I was like, all right, fuck it. I thought it would go down differently when I died. And obviously I saw from him that no fucking way I was just going to be doing more horrible shit. So I was like, okay, let's go. And I was 10 days in detox at a hospital up the street from my house. Then came back home with every intention to stay sober. I was doing an outpatient program. And then one night, and once again, this is my fault. One night got into a scrap with a neighbor, and that set me off. Like I just grabbed some booze because I didn't want to go back down to this guy's apartment and fucking kill him. I was like, you know what? I'm going to drink until I pass out, and then tomorrow I'll start recovery. And I just need to drink myself blackout so I don't do anything more violent. Then that got me kicked out of the outpatient program, but that was the catalyst for going to a recovery center. And I was up in the mountains in New Hampshire. It was up in the Green Mountains. The location was beautiful, but it wasn't it wasn't one of these places like, I was an addict and now I'm not, because I was riding horses and getting hot stone massages and crystals and shit like that. It was like, you're here because you're fucked up, and if you want to die, you can leave. If you want to live, shut up, listen, learn, and do what we do. And I did. And then when I got out of there, in the end of December, beginning of January, I was in a sober living house in Dorchester, and I moved out of there. The idea was to stay there at least a year, but I had a really good opportunity to move into where I'm talking to you from now. I have 2 roommates. One's also in recovery. The other one isn't an alcoholic, so it's good to live with them. And it's a roommate situation. Like, there's no program, but I'm active in my recovery. Like, I actually I do service work in AA. I'm all about it,
No, that's fucking great, man. Because, like, the one thing I gotta say is a lot of, man, I don't know anyone who hasn't thought about killing themselves at some point. And the thing is to keep in mind what you learned from that experience as how that would affect your loved ones, really. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like I lost 3 people over the last few years, and I don't think any of them thought how much of a fucking void they would leave when they left. And two of them were had to do with substances and suicide, and the other one was just a very dire illness. But in all 3 cases, they were talking about how I don't want to live and this and that. And it was like, man, you got to think about, like, definitely yourself, but also your loved ones, man, and the people around you. It's not just going to be like, oh, well, he's gone now. I'm going to mourn for like a few days and then move on. It's like the kind of thing that never really goes away and changes people around you for the rest of their lives, really,
Yeah.
It's such a fucking heavy thing, man. And I'm glad that you were able to pull through that, man. And I'm like glad to hear that you're active in this recovery.
Yeah. I mean, I just really, really, like I said earlier, they didn't pull me out of the party, but I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it by myself. Like actually there was a day during the lockdown when we were quarantining in place. There was a day that I woke up with the shakes, and that actually scared the piss out of me for a couple of days. I was like, oh fuck, oh Jesus Christ, it's official. I mean, I knew, but to really like have it happening for the first time, it was terrifying. And I didn't do any research. I didn't know that I was risking a heart attack or I could go into a seizure. I stopped cold turkey for 3 days, and I was having like small seizures, and I couldn't keep anything down. Like, and then I told people what I was doing. Like, I was like, yeah, fuck, I'm trying to, you guys would be probably happy to hear this, but I'm trying to quit because I woke up with seizures. So that's it, cold turkey. And people are like, what the fuck? No, you can't do that. Dude, you can't. So then, I'm the idiot. I'm like, oh, so I have to wean myself off. Then, being an alcoholic, all I'm thinking, even though in my heart of hearts, I wanted to stop. So I'm like, okay, well, at least I can wean myself. There's another part of me, the part of me that wants me dead was going, hey, you get to drink again, man. Yeah. So it was like, I didn't wean myself off of shit. I just, I ramped back up. So instead of like weaning myself off going down, it was the other way around. It was like, I was drinking a little, then I was drinking a little more, and then I was even worse than before, dude. Yeah. But as far as like wanting the way my life is now, and like I keep trying to qualify it, be like, oh, I'm sorry, this is just like generic recovery talk, but you're going to hear these things from people in recovery over and over again because it's true. Is my life is, if you had told me a year ago, or even if you told me at any point in my life, even in like really good moments in my life, that, okay, where you're going to be at 52 years old, this is your life. This is how you're going to feel. This is what's going to be happening for you. I would have like, you're fucking with me. You're crazy. And the thing is like, I still have like all the bad shit didn't go away. It's just how I'm dealing with it. And just knowing that, it hurts, but it's not going to sink me unless I want to drown, and I don't. I've got a lot better coping mechanisms, but I'm still, dude. I mean, 11 months. I'm proud of the accomplishment, but this is 11 months for the rest of my life, and hopefully, like, I've got like a decade or two left. You know what I mean? So all I got to do is just, what am I going to do today? Well, I'm going to do the next right thing and stay sober. Okay, cool. Well, what about tomorrow? Well, I'll deal with tomorrow when tomorrow gets here. But if I do get tomorrow, I'll tell you the exact same thing. That's what I do. Because I want to be happy. I want to be creative. I want to help. I want to just be a decent person. You know, like I just want to not hurt anybody or anything, and just have a happy life, and get some Elvira Strange. That's it. And some more Motorhead shirts. That's my life, man. I'm really happy.
Yeah, you can't do that shit on your own, though, man. That's definitely.
I can get Elvira Strange on my own, sir.
Well, you need. Yeah, well, yeah, that stuff for sure. But no, man, that's fucking great, man. And yeah, but that's the program is something that's like, yeah, to be able to think that you can just go out there. I'm just going to do this by myself is like, and I understand that, rugged individualism and you just want to be your own man, but like sometimes people need fucking help, man, and that's just the way it is,
Yeah, and also just for like anybody out there, I do work in an AA program, and Mike can vouch. Like I'm me. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm not. If people think, he found God and he found Jesus, and it's like, fuck no, I'm still me. But like I meditate. I'm mindful. Like I have, it's not Watain, but I have rituals that I do every day that, I have my higher power. I call it the Great Spirit, but like it's, and that was one thing like years ago, like when I was kind of toying with the idea of sobriety, like it would put me off. Like, it's like, fuck that God bullshit. They're going to come at me with the Bible. So if there's anybody out there like listening, I'm not trying to be this. Well, actually I am. How about that? I am trying to be an advocate for people trying to get sober. If you want to get sober, but you're kind of worried about like that religious aspect of AA, I am living proof that you do not have to get right with Jesus Christ the Redeemer or any of that fucking bullshit. You don't have to like, get a hotline to the Vatican or anything that you're not down with to get sober. You can do this program on your terms. Absolutely.
That was actually
Hail Satan. There you go.
That was actually a question I was going to have for you, because I don't have any personal experience with any of this stuff, but I know other people that have talked about, they try to push this like religious angle, but that's good to hear, man, because I know that. Yeah,
there are. I mean, listen, don't get it twisted. There are definitely, and especially in Boston, there are some old school salty motherfuckers who will pull you aside and like, if you don't get right with Jesus, if you don't get God, dude, you're gonna go right the fuck back out there. You guys, hey, and now instead of me going fuck you, and then that's also my disease, hearing what I want to hear, it's like, yeah, fuck these guys. You fuck them. Go drink. You're okay. Because these were the assholes you wanted to get with. It's like, no, man, it's that guy. That's that guy, and that's his fucking trip. I don't have to deal. I can say thanks for the advice and not take it. And there's also there's a sober satanic faction of the TST. There are absolute resources. There's agnostics recovery. There's if you want recovery, there's recovery for you. You know what I mean? But I like the AA program, and I've been able to work my spirituality into the AA program, no problem.
That's that's a relief, man. I got to be honest,
Yeah, dude. It was a relief for me too, because I had my whole thing was like the willingness, where it's like, okay, dude, I legit, like, it wasn't like, oh, I don't have anything. I didn't have anything. I had fucking nothing, nowhere to go. Like I burned every bridge. Like I really didn't have shit. All my clothes were in a basement in garbage bags. Half of them still are. You know what I mean? Like there was nothing. I burned my life to the ground, man. I was rebuilding. I had nothing. So I had nothing to lose. But at the same time, you have a little bit of that pride where it's like, okay, well, I have nothing to lose, but I'm not going to latch onto some doctrine that I abhor just because I don't want to die. It's like, how empty is that? You might as well be dead. But I was like, well, I have nothing to lose. what's the worst that's going to happen if I just check something out? And that's all I've done. Like anything I've done, it hasn't been like, yippee-ki-yay, I'm going to go do this. It's been, fuck, well, I got nothing and there's no going back. I have nothing to lose. It can't get any worse. Let me try this. And more often than not, it's shown itself to be a positive, good thing for me. So.
Well, that's fucking great, man. I totally fucking support you in this shit, man. That's fucking
great. Thank you, bro. That means a lot, man. I like I said, dude, I'm glad you're in my life, man. I love you quite a bit, Mike.
Yeah, I love you too, bro. Definitely, man. I'm glad to hear all this, Now to change the subject.
Yeah, please.
Did you go to that?
I love pornography. And thank you for bringing that up, Michael. Yeah. I prefer the 80s era, but no.
Actually, wait. The 80s is when it got real, like video quality. The quality, like it had that video look to it, right?
No. Well, see, then I guess I prefer like the early 80s. I basically I like my porn with a storyline. Give me some acting. Make me want this character to give a blowjob. That's what I'm saying, kids. No, I like my shit is I basically liked it like that they were like episodes of Dynasty with blowjobs. That's what I like. I liked it when like people who couldn't act their way out of a paper bag try to act thinking that this was like by doing this, like gangbang scene, this was their foot in the door to real Hollywood.
Yeah, awesome. Definitely, man.
Absolutely fucking awesome. Yeah.
There was this, I think it's had like 3 or 4 different titles, but it was like a vampire one with Jamie Gillis and Vanessa Del Rio was in it. And
really?
Like, yeah, it was like I don't know, the fucking blood of Dracula or Dracula something or other. Dracula erotica or something like that. It's got like probably multiple titles out there, but look it up online. I mean,
no, dude, I definitely will. That is completely. I'm about it, dude. Yeah, thank you for the heads up.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's that's that late 70s, I think, where it's like still on film. It doesn't look like a fucking camcorder recorded it,
Well, the one that I would always reference and like we're talking about like that is it actually they did a four episodes, but there were 4 of them. American Taboo.
I don't think I know that.
It was Gloria Leonard, Raven, Taja Ray. I mean, there were a lot of different people like in this, but it was a soap opera. It was it was a straight up soap opera. Like it had just like crazy intertwining plot twists, and yeah, they made 4 of them. Like it would in like four in a row. They were all like, but just like released like a couple of months apart. But yeah, American Taboo, volume 1 through 4.
Have you ever heard of the Rialto Report? It's like
yeah, I love the Rialto Report.
I figured, man.
That's my era, man. Like right before video, like that last gasp, like Essex and VCA, Caballero, like those studios, like that stuff. That's like my shit, dude.
Yeah. That podcast. If anyone out there is interested in like old school porn, the Rialto Report is where it's at for all the stories behind everything. And Mike Scandato turned me on to that. You know Mike, right?
Oh, man, the Brooklyn bastard. I love that dude. Hello, Mike. Hello, Michael Scandato.
Yeah, I saw him in person, actually, this past weekend. We
Did you go to Sub-Zero or did you go to Nuclear Assault?
We played.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, dude, you played with Nuclear?
Yeah, it was Nuclear Assault, Sub-Zero, Tombs, Sworn Enemy, and like a ton of other bands.
Oh my fucking God, dude! I feel like an asshole now. Like I could have went. Oh my God! Actually, no, I couldn't. We were playing.
Yeah,
that's insane. I knew that Nuke played, and I knew that Sub-Zero played, but I didn't know it was the same show, and I certainly didn't know it was all of that, including you. Now, oh man, I'm sorry, dude.
Yeah, that's where I saw Mike. It was dude, it was this is our first show since February of 2020. That just happened this past weekend.
How'd it feel?
All right, it was great. Number one, I on full on needed to play live to perform. Okay, yeah. I haven't gotten nervous ever since like probably at least 20 years. I haven't gotten any kind of like nerves really before playing until Saturday night, and the thing that I was nervous about wasn't the actual performance. It was about connecting my equipment the right way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I thought I would be
absolutely.
nervous about fucking up or forgetting the words or something stupid like that. But I was like, you know, because it was one of those gigs where there's like a back line and you bring your shit, there's no sound check, and you know, it's like you just put your head on the cabinet, you do a line check, and you know, you connect all your shit. And I'm like, oh man, fuck, I hope I have my shit connected the right way, man. You know, I was like, that's what got me the most fucking uptight about anything that night. But like once I was able to confirm that everything was plugged in the right way, I was like, oh, okay, I'm all right. Everything's good. You know, then it was just like, you know, just all, that whole like muscle memory came back to performing live. But
did the beast come back like after like 30 seconds or like 10 seconds in, or so was it finally like you're like, no.
As soon as I realized that I plugged all my shit in the right way, then the beast came back. I was like, all right, I'm ready to fucking crush. You know what I mean? And
game on, man. Yeah, dude.
Once I knew that I could rely on the technical stuff not to get fucked up, I was like, all right, everything's cool. And yeah, it was great, dude. It was like I was sore as fuck the next day, man. You know?
Yeah.
But that was amazing, man. The whole day was great. It was just like, you know, a little long. It was kind of a long day. It was this big show with a lot of bands, and but it was great. It was good to see people. You know, like it was in Brooklyn, so I saw like a lot of people I knew, and
yeah.
You know, I don't live in Brooklyn anymore. I moved out to Jersey right at the beginning of the pandemic, so you know that I hadn't seen some of these people in almost 2 years.
Dude, I don't know when I'm gonna be down there, but like I can't wait till the next time it's because it's just gonna be like, okay, man, stop hugging me. I love you too. Stop hugging me. Like, no, you don't get it. It's like, we do, but come on, man, stop. You could have come down like months ago. What, you know? But
let's fucking stay in touch about that, man. Maybe we'll, you know.
All right, man. Yeah. Well, yeah. All right. True. Well, you know, I don't know. You know what? You make up your mind. Like once like, you know, Cascade Rats has recorded stuff, then, you know, check it out and see if it would be a good fit. But I mean, dude, without a doubt, like, you know, by the summer, PB will be doing gigs. So, you know.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Definitely, man. For sure. Like I mean, I don't know if you knew this, but I had COVID, man, like a few weeks ago.
Oh shit! I didn't know you got it a few weeks ago. Like, but yeah, I got it fucking twice.
Oh man, dude! I didn't realize you got it. I didn't even know you had it.
Dude, I got it. I'm not trying to one up you, but like I got it. The first time I got it was in the recovery center in the treatment center up in New Hampshire, and it went ripped through that fucking place. There were over 100 cases. It was like we were in law. It was crazy, dude. Like not quite a month sober in fucking recovery, and then you're in the middle of nowhere, and then quarantine on top of that, dude. We had to do Zoom, like we had to do like the unit I was in. That's where we were the first couple of people exposed, and they would put like they call it the COVID cabin. So like somebody would be, you could see somebody like walking up the hill with their duffel bag from like the other units, would be like, oh fuck, another one. And we would have to they'd leave our food like outside, and we would have to do our like all our like group meetings and, you know, like step classes and everything like that. Like not step aerobics, like 12-step, but like
yeah, no, I know.
Dude, like we would do like our entire recovery curriculum via Zoom. It was dude, fucked, man.
You've been through some fucking shit, man. Jesus.
I've suffered, Michael. Jesus I've been through hell.
That's fucked up, man. I didn't realize. Yeah, dude. That. Wow.
Well, I just told you, yeah. But yeah. But so, how do you? I mean, did it hit you hard?
No. Well, I mean, first of all, I'm vaccinated. Number one, I got vaccinated, and
right on.
And so I was only really sick for like 3 or 4 days, maybe. And then, and even that wasn't even as bad as I mean, I've been way sicker before, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, I can't take, I'm just starting to get my taste back, my sense of taste. And then there was just like some, you know, fatigue and like headaches, and the headaches are gone. I try to do a little bit of exercising today, and I still get a little tired. So that's lingering a little bit, but I imagine by next week I'll feel almost normal. So the whole thing was like, 3 weeks or something like that. But not really sick for 3 weeks, but the effects of like kind of lingering effects for about 3 weeks.
Yeah.
You know, and we had to cancel. We did miss one show that we had booked because I tested positive and I had to go into quarantine. And then we were able to do this past weekend, which was like, I was like, oh fuck, man. Like, you know, I've been looking forward to this. And like, you know, so yeah, I was fine, you know, and you know, it's just battling a little bit of that fatigue and, you know, just not having played a show in like a year and a half. And then just the next day I felt like somebody beat me with a chain, man. I was just fucking sore as fuck, man.
Dude, I'm like, so we did that gig Saturday. That was our second gig, and then immediately after, like Sunday, I was part of like the slap knot. You know how they were doing like the slap.
I was going to ask you about that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. But so like I'm still sore from like, and then like all like last week, like, you know, I was like a choke stunt double at practices because, you know, they have to run stuff with vocals, and so I'm beat up. I'm banged around too. And like, you know, I haven't done a load in and a load out in forever too. And, you know, I was like, oh shit, dude, fucking old man. It's good.
So you, the thing, I think Taz was telling me about the Slapknot thing. And that was like, there was an actual Slapshot reunion, right? And then there was like,
dude, it was so fucking cool. Yeah.
But then there was like an ex-members thing, like upstairs at the Middle East or something like that.
Yeah, that was so here's the whole deal. So it was, for anybody who's listening who didn't know, Slapshot just had their 35th anniversary. They did a tour with Sheer Terror, and then the end of it, to the big homecoming, is they did three nights in Boston. They did Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and then on the Saturday night, there was a scheme to have the Back on the Map lineup come on halfway through Slapshot set and play Back on the Map.
Right.
And then once that like looked like this is really going to happen, then like the OG guys they were just like spitballing something like, yeah. And honestly, like, I guess like just half joking, like, hey, wouldn't it be great if you know, we got every member of Slapshot? Dude was like, oh, that would have to be its own show. Haha. Oh, wait a minute. Hey, that could be cool. So they reached out to like, you know, everybody, you know what I mean? So like it was, I'd say it was 99% of everybody who's ever played in Slapshot. On Sunday, upstairs at the Middle East was its own matinee show, and it was Slapknot, and they had the Welsh boys open up. And yeah, it was really, really fucking cool because they had guest vocals. Like I did Firewalker, Glenn from Wrecking Crew sang Back on the Map. Shit, they did Rick from Jerry's Kids.
Wow.
Sean from Refuse Resist. Oh fuck. Dude, I have social anxiety, so I left as soon as I was done. But like they had a lot of serious weight up there. But then before the quote unquote all-star set, they had it was the OG Slapshot guys, but they had a live karaoke because the whole show was a benefit for Punks in Recovery. Oh, okay. And they had a karaoke sign up list, so it was dudes from the crowd getting up singing with Slapshot. And it was great. Like the whole vibe, like the whole show was just like this love fest. Like, you know, people flew in from Belgium, people from Japan. Like there were people who hadn't seen each other in 30 years. Like people were burying the hatchet. It was so cool. But then when the karaoke thing happened, first guy gets up, and as expected, he's just like ecstatic, but they printed lyric sheets and everything, so he's got the lyric sheet, but he's just between being scared, psyched, and just, you know, he'd never sang. It was a train wreck, but like it was such a great vibe that nobody cared. It was like made it even better. He was laughing. It was like, of course this is what's going to happen. Then from there on in, everybody who came up at random were amazing. Like they were even better than like all of us, like the old farts who were doing like the guest vocal, like, oh, we're guest vocalist shit. Like all these random dudes from the karaoke thing were incredible, like nailing stuff, like insanely good. It was so fucking cool, man.
That sounds like fun, man. I remember hearing about it a few months ago, and I was like, that sounds like a good time, man.
Dude, it was really, really good time. And then like just even without like that, like the Slapknot matinee, just them having like Choke and the present lineup, having them like bring the OG guys up, but for to be part of the 35th was so fucking cool, man. It was like just like a good thing, you know. It was awesome.
There have been a lot of people in that band over the years.
Oh man. Oh yeah. I mean there was. I mean, we were looking at like 20 something people for Slapknot, like revolving. Like there wasn't any one constant, like because there was there was Mark McKay, there was Barry Height, there was Dougie Boy McKinnon, there was John Bean. So there was the drummers, and then so it was Spewed, it was John Anastas, Chris Loria, and Jamie Strappa, bass. Then guitar, it was like Steve. Then Daryl Shepard, Ed Lally. Oh, fuck. Dude.
That's crazy.
It's a lot.
That sounds like a good night though, man.
Yeah, it was fantastic, man. It was really cool. Yeah.
Well, it was great talking to you, man. And
well, all right, man. Yeah, no, dude, I didn't know what the hell we were gonna do, but this is great. I hope whoever's listening, I hope you had a good time, man. Because this was fun.
Yeah, it's this is what we do. We just talk and fucking shit happens.
Emphasis on shit. Yeah,
it's as simple as that. You know what I mean? But
I do.
But yeah, dude. Once again, congratulations, and I fucking support you, man. And I'm so proud of you. You know what I mean?
Right back at you, my brother. I'm a big Michael Hill fan. Long time back, dude.
Well, thanks for listening, everyone, and we'll talk to you next week.